I think this is a very bad example. There are skills for how to do things, but as for what to do, that's still not fully clear. This will be the most depressing episode on our YouTube channel.
Here is a webmural breakdown. This is a show where design agency owners break down websites to the molecular level. Art director Arsen Berezovsky carefully evaluates the visual style, branding, typography, and colors, while experienced marketer Mikhailo Yamchura thoroughly analyzes marketing, copywriting, user experience, and business aspects. Want to know what really makes a website successful? Watch our show, develop your visual literacy, and learn from the valuable experience of professionals.
Let's go. We take our websites and online platforms. Look, as you can see, they're sorted from the newest, of course, for our reference. And the very first site, Albina Polyakova. Let's check out Albina's work. Wow, she's got quite a few websites here. We've looked at some of them. Honestly, it feels like we're doing this segment just for Albina. We've already reviewed 3 of her sites. Design and web development on WordPress. It's great that she's completing this profile. I'm curious to know, Albina, if you're watching this, our video, let us know in the comments. I wonder if you've already had any success in attracting clients. Be sure to let us know, it's really valuable to us. While at first glance, it looks very appealing. Let's move on and take a look. We're moving on. Yes. Oh, it actually looks better on the website than in the screenshot. Gorgeous, gorgeous. We've got some story at the bottom here. You know, it's like those little windows they use now at the bottom with some kind of presentation. But I immediately noticed that something's off here. The background didn't reach all the way to the end, right? And when it loads here and then you scroll, you can fix it a bit if Albina is developing it. Let's remind ourselves how this works. I'm looking at the visuals, at the UI work, the composition, the UX and UI components. Misha will be looking at the copywriting, the business side, and the marketing. Regarding the visuals, friends, what can I say? I have to say, I was very pleasantly surprised by the first screen. It's rare to see text that looks readable and appropriate on a detailed background. You can't even tell that the background was darkened in any ways, gently darkened, maybe with a light gradient from above. Maybe it's so subtle that it's barely noticeable and doesn't add any muddiness. Yes, just a photograph. An interesting navbar, a large book now call to action that will scroll with us, the phone number right away so we can call and ask, and Instagram. By the way, regarding Instagram, there's often a bit of a tricky moment here, but you have to look at the context, because often sending people to a social network isn't ideal, since it usually sucks people in, draws them away, and you'll never come back to the site again. That's why it's always said that it's better to talk about social networks either in the blog after the main information you've provided on the site, or already in the footer. But maybe in their case, their Instagram is really well developed and sales also happen through Instagram with managers who handle all of that. In that case, it makes sense. I don't know yet, but maybe that's how it is. Great font. Finally, I see that a very similar font is used for the headings, similar to the one in the logo. Maybe it's even the exact same one. And that immediately complements the branding really well and creates a cohesive picture. Excellent work with the composition. The red line. Why is this house with the birds set apart like that? That's another thing I wanted to mention. The way you integrated information that's really important for users, for potential clients, is excellent. Where the house is located, the discount for the armed forces of Ukraine is great information to have on the site right now. And the information that there's a whole hectare of recreational area plus the big yellow book now button. There's a hierarchy conflict right at the bottom and the 1 hectare label. Maybe that label could have been made white. Maybe, but I'm not sure it's really that critical. Right now, there are actually 2 elements that I see with the same visual weight, this 1 hectare label as well as the Book Now button. But since the Book Now button is centered and separated from all the other elements by a margin, it also stands quite high in the hierarchy. For now, I'd honestly give the first screen a 10 out of 10. We'll see how it goes next. We've already started going through the screens. Overall, I really like it, the mood and those mental anchors to the Ukrainian coat of arms, to the armed forces of Ukraine. There are certain words that immediately make the site feel familiar. But from a marketing perspective, I couldn't immediately figure out whether this is a company that builds modular houses, because there's a cool render here and clear text that says, modern houses with terraces, created for your comfort. So is this a company that sells houses, meaning homes which can be built on any land owned by the customer? Or is this a website for some kind of settlement or residential community where the houses have already been built and the client can actually buy a spot or a place there? Well, it's not immediately obvious. And I only guessed thanks to those banners saying 15 minutes from Lviv. And so that doesn't say anything. It could be a vacation. No, honestly, that doesn't tell me anything. For some reason, I immediately got the impression that this is a village, an already finished resort complex, and you just come and rent a house there. It's just that if it's 15 minutes from Lviv, they could have just indicated the location right away. Then the location would have been clear immediately. But here it's very abstract. I mean, it could be in different areas, but it's 15 minutes from Lviv. Why do I have to guess about this? And does the investment in Navbari not allow us to understand Well, you can build these houses as summer cottages. If you add this differentiation here, whether it's a company that builds houses to order or a company that sells already built houses, it puts everything in its place. We need to watch the video and the location. Yes. Oh, wow. The music is playing, friends. One house is for sale. Interesting. Look at this tree here. Right here in the rendering. Yeah, but over there it's bare. Yeah, over there it looks kind of poor. So poor looking. References versus reality. Wow, what a beautiful stove. And here there's one house standing and it says modern houses with terraces. In reality, there's just one house on the lot, but it's awesome. This is a business development project. Those colors where life becomes colorful. Wow. And we see a second font being used here. That's Gilroy. Not bad. Such memories. A Polaroid photo. Everyone, we come there, relax, then take a Polaroid picture. By the way, it's a really winning idea to show a video. It's so unobtrusive, but still gives you more and more context. Yeah, it's a cool thing. You see, it's some kind of plugin called Clidio.com. For anyone who finds it useful, you can use it. In short, the composition is great, the photos are great. Let's move on. Now we see a cottage. And this is a vacation house rental. We've already accepted it. But investments, that's an interesting section. Cool slider. That's a neat slider. Very abrupt. When it moves by itself, it could be smaller, but it's still functional. So that's surrender. You can come and stay there, right? Did you realize that right away? No, only just now. So the offer is modern houses for your absolute comfort discount. So after all, it's for recreation. And accordingly here, it would make sense to book a spot there, to choose book now, big button. But what are you booking? Yeah, right. Are you booking a partnership there or a vacation? Maybe if the headline said, rent a modern house designed just for you, choose a convenient date. The call to actions are more relevant. I agree. Okay, this animation is a bit abrupt and rather sharp, but again, there's this moment where the photo gradually enlarges and then gently settles itself into place. That's cool. I like it. It's unusual and looks great. And the price, honestly, it seems quite reasonable. Spacious with huge ceilings, like make some kind of movie theater, order pizza with the guys, sit around, brainstorm. Awesome. 2 floors, 100 square meters for 6 people. Nice. Landing page. Let's check it out. Also, for convenience, we will talk about your comfort. Oh, awesome section. Forest. You could add numbers showing the distance in kilometers, draw it like that, and maybe when you hover over the circle, a photo would pop up. Exactly, and here the distance shows up when you hover. Cool. I see that the fall thing shifted. It should be on the same level. Its seasonality dropped a bit lower. And QA, for the first time, I think there's really animation at this point. The little bird, right? Okay, question. So what's next? So now we're talking about investments. In short, they're gonna build more houses. You can join in as a partner, passive income from rent. Invest. Yeah, but what to book? Tech service. Right now, there's only one house. That's like trying to sit on 2 chairs at once, and that's not good. I think that's a really bad example when you're trying to sit on 2 chairs at once. Yeah, I agree, it's cross-focus. You don't really understand what site you're on or what's expected of you here. Maybe this section should be shorter, like just a partner program. You click and it takes you to a separate page where all the terms are described. Yeah, they should have just picked one thing here. People don't book through the website. Usually things like this are booked through Instagram because you need to know which dates are available. Just get rid of that book now button altogether. It's here, but it's not needed here. People aren't gonna book through this website, and I'm sure not a single night has been booked through this site. Albina, let us know the truth now.
Michael has.
I think all the nights are booked through Instagram, or on their Instagram there's another little button in the link that redirects them to the service where this booking terminal leads. Let's take a quick look at what's there. Let's check out these colors. We open it and it's online. 7, yes, 7. Interesting for booking. Online booking, our website, because the person actually doesn't have a marketer, doesn't have a goal. At this particular point in time, the funnel is already working quite poorly. But it could have been separated. The guest makes a booking, investor invests here for investors to write, and online booking. If you're an investor, you come in and you have a good pitch deck where you can see preferences by location, answers to questions about profitability, and then your call to action isn't book now, but leave a request. Leave a request, call me, or get an investor offer. So an additional pitch deck, for example, where the PL for the last 3 to 6 months is shown specifically for this property's profitability, to make a promise to the client and ideally get the client to commit to the next project. Another confirmation of this is the reviews, which are not on the website but are available here. No hot tub story. Yes, this further supports what Mike Hilo is saying. That Instagram really serves as a landing page for clients because the reviews aren't on the website. Information about some additional perks like the hot tub. is also not on the website, but it is on Instagram. So you can't really say this is Albina's problem, but here it is present. It's not so much Albina's problem, but rather more of a problem for the marketers. The client who set the task, but that doesn't simply remove responsibility from the executors. After all, expertise and sometimes advice are also expected from you. The website should ultimately be genuinely beneficial either to help get more bookings or to attract potential investments. In this particular case, it won't actually bring in bookings, but it will unfortunately throw a wrench in the works for investors. I'm giving the visuals an 8 out of 10. That's also quite a high score, but somewhere something is off. Somewhere there's a low quality bird image. Somewhere a block could have been made more interesting. The strategy here is broken, but this strategy can be quite easily remedied simply by changing the book now button to another target action. And importantly, you can even keep the block that displays the cottage price. For example, you could show exactly how much it could be rented for, as well as how much it might cost, so that a potential investor could calculate the whole picture for themselves. Change the call to action on this site from book now to get an investment offer, and then the site will work as it should. After that, you can drive traffic to it and do everything else as needed. So for now, from a marketing perspective, I'm giving it 4 points because the idea hasn't been conveyed with 100% accuracy. Post Malone has joined us and he's asking you to subscribe to our channel. A lot of people watch, a lot of people like and comment, but not many actually subscribe. We would really appreciate it. Post Malone will come up with a song for you and sing it in the next episode. Let's get to 4,000. All right, next up is Rostislav Kronenko, a designer and developer on Framer. He's a Framer expert and developer. Let's go. And he's listed as a no-code developer, so most likely he wasn't the designer here, but did the development. But nevertheless, we'll be evaluating the design. So let's go very Cossack style. Most definitely blades are flying swiftly left and right. I was waiting for something here since it's dark. It's very dark, honestly. You can't tell what's here. Why is that? It's unclear because there's no content at all in the center of the site. If there were content in the center of the site, like a big offer or something, then we'd darken it and put the focus on the typography, on the communication. But in our case, everything's spread out along the edges. The logo is really cool. I liked it. The blades are falling. The blades are falling from the saber. There's a saber here and blades, and also this sharp thing, a straight razor. Services. Check out this cool animation. The SVGs are animated. Wow. But the icons are a little bit different in style. The scissors are indeed the thinnest. Yeah, this part is a bit, actually everything is about the impression. It's all, okay, we've got it. Shop Blade is the perfect service to book an appointment in Zaporizhia, phone numbers and a little button click and you pick your location and you're good to go. Lermontova, a Cossack website. They're using very, very generic stock icons here, really too much. Honestly, I'd probably like to see a more creative and different use of graphics by the end of the year 2025. Friends, Midjourney or ChatGPT have recently started generating such unique and incredibly diverse images that in just 2 hours, you can create even more genuine and authentic modern illustrations for your website. Then, for example, you can slice them into different pieces as PNGs in Figma and animate them however you like, on hover, on click, or however you want. Anything at all. Right now, it looks like someone just typed barbershop illustration into FreePic and grabbed the first image that came up. So I don't really like that. That's the first thing. The second thing I don't like is working with fonts. It feels like I'd want more of that element we had here, or something with those sharp features, tall, interesting symbols like that. Maybe you could find a font like that in Cyrillic. I'm sure it exists. And it does exist. I've seen it in the works of some masters. Why did we decide to use such a distinctive font like Kozak Karakternik specifically in the navbar and in such a small size? But when it comes to larger text, we use something, I don't know if it's Inter or Arial, it's unclear. I don't really like that. There are no issues with the animation. The Framer animator did truly a great job with it. Absolutely everything is moving, everything is being guided in a very deliberate way. Only the ability to do it, but what to do is not yet fully understood. Like, we know how to do it, but choosing exactly what should appear or pop up, that's something we still need to work on. Because if I were just looking at the screen and didn't see the animation, I think it was a barbershop well, I don't know, maybe from 2017. Yeah, like a site made back then. And around here we have an ear and, well, something else too. It's also not really clear what's placed around here. Razor blade, but it looks very, very, very cropped now, okay? Cossacks too, you could have made cutting people more interesting. You can see those white outlines around. Here I trim, gentlemen. And so the way everything appears so nicely as you scroll with the hover effects, that's cool. But actually everything else from the first screen isn't okay. I mean, we still haven't seen the interior of this place. Nice hover effect, nice pop-up, and then we move on to some service. Only further down is there a gallery where we can actually see the work itself, somewhere around here. Well, it's interesting. I've always been puzzled by this whole thing. I can't really comment on this as a marketer. You probably need to look at it as a brand strategist here. And here the tone of voice is Cossack-like. Because here you have a Cossack with blades in one moment, and in another, what always puzzled me is that the men are depicted with this incredibly thick, almost exaggerated hair on their heads. But when we look at the actual historical photos, nope, it's just a regular guy, a typical client, nothing out of the ordinary, just as you would expect. Someone kind of like me, really. Usually these are people who get their hair cut with a number 6 guard, and we kind of have a bit of a complex about that. Wherever you go in a barbershop, they expect to see a client like that with glasses, and then I show up. In design, we expect a client with $15,000 budget when another comes in. $200. Please, I want a website for $200. The animation is great, everything's animated. The developer did everything they were told. And at the same time, you can't really say that anything is annoyingly over the top. No, it's micro animation, you scroll, and everything is smooth and interesting. I wanted to say that the developer did everything he promised in his offer. Designer? The designer isn't listed here as the designer. Maybe, can one person choose 2 roles? No, probably not. But look, web half a year, the guy just started half a year ago. 0 to 2 years. Maybe this is even his first client. First website, nice. Yeah, if it's your first website, that's more than awesome. But I hope, Rostislav, if you watch this video, you'll still find some useful information here about what can be improved. First of all, it's the hero section on the first screen, where we can't see a damn thing about what's going on. Second, if you've taken on the Cossack theme, or rather not you, but the owners did, Hostreledzo, and they see themselves as Zaporizhian Cossacks. Let's bring more of that Cossack vibe into the site, from communication and tone of voice to illustrative elements. Give us a saber, forget that blade. You should be wielding a saber. And probably regarding the photography as well, work with the fonts. Don't use, I don't know if it's Inter or worse, Arial. For evaluation, I'd probably give it 3 out of 10 for design. I won't give it a score, but I will say that for half a year of experience, this is truly a very good result. Because even with things like anchors and all those various aspects, the very basic mistakes that many people tend to make at the beginning are simply not present here. That's really genuinely great. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. A very strong result, so we absolutely wish you real growth in this field from the bottom of our hearts. Friends, let me interrupt you for just a second. This Thursday at 7:30 p.m. we'll be holding a masterclass for web designers where we'll talk about how you can improve your design career. We'll share my personal experience, the experience of Figmatica, how we developed, what our strategy was, and how we got to the point where we sell landing pages starting at $3,990. It's going to be very useful and interesting. There are a lot of great reviews, for example, like this one here. So if you haven't attended the masterclass yet, I highly recommend joining. The distinguished Miss Julia Sabadach. Yes, Julia. Angular UIX designer, SaaS landing page designer. Here's the entire site. For some reason, and I'm not entirely sure why, this particular case is only on the Webflow page. Should we look at Webflow or no? Let's go through the whole thing. So I didn't quite understand the first screen because the padding around it is so strong. It feels like something didn't load or didn't make it here. Basically, right now on the first screen, we only see one piece of text and one button. There's 0 additional context. Development, brand design, web design, vibe and flow, and that's it. Like they're selling it as a flow tool, but yeah, I'm taking your side now. No, go ahead, take it. As for the visuals, purely from a product standpoint, the gradient is definitely pretty cool. It's cool that the logo in the navbar is like a shortened version, and at the bottom it says clarity subtle, not in your face. The only thing that bothers me here is the really heavy padding around this first card in the hero section. It wastes a lot of space that could have been used for other elements that would be useful for clients. Whether it's a trust badge or adding some kind of cliffhanger at the bottom, because this is exactly the spot where a cliffhanger would have the most impact. For those who don't know, that's a term that comes from TV series, where an episode always ends at the most interesting moment, motivating you to immediately watch the next one. On a website, this works when in the hero section, we show a part of the second block, a part of some element block or text that motivates you to find out more, first of all, to see that there's something else there. But here, on the contrary, everything suggests that it's just a single screen. Like say Linktree, you open it and it's just one screen with links, and that's it. That's the impression I get here. Well, you've already mentioned marketing, as you pointed out. Indeed, the positioning is not very clear here, but they'll try to address that in the second block. Yeah, these lines of text are so wide, it's hard to read. I really wish it was more compact, but the animation is cool, very Apple-like. Branding, web design, copywriting. The site doesn't look like an agency site at all. Agencies usually show client testimonials, trust badges, factoids right away. It's way too low. It shouldn't be like this. The size is just way too small. Right now, I'm looking at this the same way I look at a Behance case, like beginners often do. In a Behance case, 70% of the block is an explanation of what was done and how it was done, and what was actually accomplished you only see somewhere on the last scroll. This site looks exactly the same. Look, their business is basically built, you see, on migrating sites from WordPress, Magento, or other platforms, or not. Comparison. comparison, chin, chin, chin. How do they handle the migration? This is actually a good page for business to explain things. That's probably why she attached it here. It's like a lead magnet. And what is this that we opened? This is their case study. Okay. Damn, but there's a really big gap again right here. When we have elements in different blocks, you can definitely make it tighter. It'll even look better. Damn, overall it's cool. But there are these little things that are kind of triggering, like the site as a whole, you look at it and it's kind of cool. Well, I don't know. They're not well thought out. Blocks. I'm probably going to be super toxic here. The blocks aren't really well thought out. The first scroll just kills any desire to keep on scrolling further. It takes too long. The cases should be placed further down. Why do we need to scroll through you? But then it becomes clear. Here, 1, 2, how many are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the case is all the way at the end. Only 2 cases. So in the UL, there are 3. It's a really strange decision. Why do it like that? I agree. I still don't get what this outline is for. We have a white background. Inside we have a card with a blue gradient, and then they added an outline on top of that. Here we have 1, 2, 3 layers of padding like this. Why? This outline is definitely unnecessary. It's especially noticeable that the outline is inconsistent with the button, and that's really triggering, isn't it? The button's already around and it doesn't align with this. It doesn't match up with this corner. This is going to be the most depressing episode we have ever had on YouTube. Who are we? Okay, let that be text. Why not add our cases right here in the white space? There, Clarity Design Studio, team photos, office, that's one. Next, beautiful brand's website. Right here, show images of the brand right away. That would be awesome. It would give some context because reading, it's very sad. It's like they overloaded it, they made you read. Makes you want to yawn and go to sleep. Plus animation hover, not instantly, so nothing moves at once. First time seeing services this way. It's not bad. It actually looks pretty decent. But again, you want to be able to click somewhere. This is a really useful block actually. If you go to Intercol, just open the site and show it right there on the site itself, and we'll be able to onboard you there right away. This is a presentational website. As a presentation, it fits here. But for someone who doesn't really know you, this isn't a landing page where people will come and learn everything. You make a call and show it during the call. You say, yeah, we did this case forever, and there's contact tasks. Okay, again, there's white space at the bottom. But what about the form? You just need to click and then scroll through it. There should typically be a lot of responses here. Each click triggers a conversion window, and the form is actually very unimpressive. Visually, it has the same weight as the elements on the left side. The form should be entirely on the blue panel at the top. It should stand out because there are too many outlines here, too much thin text. It's very hard to perceive, and it's long. It creates a lot of scrolling. Although the content to the left of the form is cool, it's a nice kind of why, but then the feedback QA is needed. That's how it is, like that. The name Clarity, well, it means cleanliness, and it can also be translated as transparency. There's also Clarity with a C. That's a major Microsoft service for screen recording and tracking. Here's a useful tool for you. You can look up Clarity with a C. It's a helpful service from Microsoft that you can easily install for your clients by using a simple script. It's actually very simple to set up. It records all user sessions and automatically creates heat maps, so you can thoroughly analyze how your clients interact with your site, at which stage they decide to leave, and whether they actually click on the buttons you want them to click. This way you can improve conversion rates, increase scroll depth, and make your clients' lives better, as well as develop your own expertise and broaden your perspective. So Clarity with a C. It's free. Use it to your heart's content. 4 out of 10 slides connected. I don't want to evaluate the marketing. On the one hand, the blocks, they by themselves, they are good on their own. That is, the intention behind these blocks is good. The implementation, the sequence, plus the visual accompaniment, the sequence, how you perceive them, what about it? It leaves something to be desired, right? Wish you health, wishes you good health, because I could sort of evaluate it, and you might take it like, well, you said that. These are good blocks. The blocks are good, but the implementation is so-so, and giving it a high score here, or even an average score, probably wouldn't be quite. Even having those same QAs next to the form is also a great practice. But the implementation, when you have to scroll to submit a request, I click the book a call button, and it takes me to fill out this huge form. Can't I just open the calendar and talk everything through with you? Maybe you can, can't I? And there are emails, can't I just write an email? Very often people just send an email, so there's that. Let's look at something else. 3D ground. Wow, that's underground. Looking at non photo. Very mysterious. 3D design, 20 years. Wow, impressive. The website was made turnkey. 3D the role, you can learn several roles. The man published the 3D site on the 3rd, went in and never returned. As for the leads, let's see. This is a product, and this is is this some kind of holding company where there are products, courses, manuals, products, courses? It's something, everything relates to 3D. What it is remains unclear. Let's scroll. But wait, let's look, there's actually English available right away here too. British, please. Look, notice the first screen. Cool illustration immediately. Wow, this looks interesting. Thread. Let's start with about us so we understand and don't have to guess. An offer, some samples, boom. Well, I already don't like this, to be honest. An offer, on our website you can find a paid UMO. That's a very interesting way to put it. Conditionally free and free here. Conditionally free and free. It might cost about $500, almost free. That's their kind of copyright. If you want, buy it. If you don't, goodbye. Their own guy. This isn't ChatGPT. It was written by a person, not ChatGPT. The site is constantly being updated with new content. Follow the updates. 3D ground is established. That's clear. But what is it exactly? Is it a community, a school, a company, an agency? They offer turnkey 23D and programming experience. It's a personal brand. This is my idea and implementation. Well, you could have 20 years of 3D experience, 20 years of 3D. Well, why not? I thought 3D hasn't even existed for 20 years. There were some masterpieces back then. Here are our products together without any categorization. How do you differentiate them? Those who know will understand, as they say. Yellow, blue, I would go for the orange one. But these are scripts. We already figured it out from the button, but it wasn't mentioned in the layout that we're now on SSE on scripts. And also right here, we already have tabs. System cleanup, arrangement, games, rendering. Let's look at games. Let's open Counter Game Online, update it. And what year is it from? Is it something complicated? Wait, this is some kind of game script. A mini game made with Max script. Why? Oh, you can play it. This is something niche, hard to understand. Basic Max script, 23rd year, view, introductory lessons. Maybe it's a template? A website? Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a template. Because it's such a complex structure with complicated navigation, but at the same time, it's all actually very similar. I mean, if you look, hey, scroll down to the footer, site build sortie. What is that? Build sortie website right below. No idea. 3.0, maybe 30. Well, now we've opened it up. This is really honestly going to be a very depressing review. Some logos. It's still unclear who they are, clients, partners. We're recommending something. I think it's a template because some things are in English, some in Ukrainian. In short, let's do it this way. It's really hard for me to judge the visuals because honestly, it really reminds me of a template. The only thing I like here is the orange color and the 3D little guys. I'm not saying it's bad. It's perfectly understandable for honestly 99% of users. Plus, there are pages that, well, are bad, look bad. For example, the About Us page, the icons are absolutely terrible. There's a photo of a person in the middle, the alignment is off, and so on. The site is functional. Was there any point in making it so that I would say, wow, that's awesome? No, it has its audience and tasks. Maybe Misha will appreciate it more here. The site. Honestly, you probably need to look at it in context maybe. For instance, it has a really strong and active community somewhere, like on Discord or Telegram, and the links to the products come directly from those chats, or maybe from YouTube, particularly if they have a dedicated YouTube channel. The community might actually be really well developed and quite active overall. People come here, they write in Spanish, in English, and sometimes in other languages as well, but that was back in 2020. And maybe it was some kind of group or community in the past that no longer exists. But then why would it be published on Webmural now? Probably just for the sake of traffic, yeah? Vasil, it's really interesting. What is this site? What's it for? Honestly, it's generally hard to understand. On Webmural, we should emphasize that the goal of Webmural is to help web designers find clients, not just to drive traffic. And here, honestly, it gets a bit confusing. So if you're a web designer, register on Webmural, publish your portfolio, and find yourself some clients. It's very simple and very useful. We will say goodbye to you. Bye.